The Thule Society, Thule Gesellschaft, founded in Munich in 1918, is one of the most notorious secret organizations of the early 20th century due to its occult underpinnings, radical political ideology, and its eventual connection to the rise of the Nazi Party. While its direct influence on Adolf Hitler and the Nazi movement has sometimes been exaggerated, the Society undeniably played a critical role in fostering the intellectual, spiritual, and political atmosphere that would culminate in one of the darkest periods in modern history. The origins of the Thule Society are deeply tied to the volatile political and cultural climate of post-World War I Germany. The defeat of the German Empire in the war, followed by the Treaty of Versailles, 1919, which imposed harsh economic and territorial penalties, created widespread national humiliation and a deep desire for political and cultural renewal. The collapse of the monarchy, the emergence of the Weimar Republic, and the brief establishment of socialist governments, such as the Bavarian Soviet Republic, heightened political instability, making fertile ground for radical movements. The Thule Society emerged out of the German Orden, a secret society founded in 1912 that was rooted in nationalist, Völkisch, folkish ideologies and anti-Semitic thought. The German Orden promoted Germanic mysticism, the superiority of the Aryan race, and the need to protect Germany from the perceived corruption of non-Aryan influences, particularly Jews. It was a deeply conservative, elitist, and occult group, advocating for the revival of ancient Germanic traditions and spiritual practices. The Thule Society was officially founded by Rudolf von Sebottendorf, an eccentric aristocrat with a deep interest in esoteric and mystical teachings. Sebottendorf had traveled extensively through the Middle East and was influenced by Sufism, alchemy, and theosophy. However, his focus shifted towards Germanic myths and the belief in a mystical Aryan past. He named the society after Ultima Thule, a legendary land mentioned by the ancient Greeks and Romans, often associated with the far north and identified in folkish thought as the original homeland of the Aryans. Sebottendorf's goal was to create a group that would combine nationalism, racial purity, and occult wisdom to restore Germany to its mythical greatness. The Thule Society was more than just a political organization. It was an esoteric order seeking to tap into what they believed were ancient spiritual powers of the Aryan race. The Thule Society was based on an intricate mix of occultism, nationalism, and racist ideology. Central to its worldview were the following key concepts. The society was obsessed with the idea of the Aryan race, believed to be the original, pure, and noble race that once ruled over vast, powerful civilizations. According to their mythology, the Aryans were a highly advanced people who possessed profound spiritual knowledge and were the rightful rulers of the world. However, through the ages, their racial purity had been corrupted through miscegenation and foreign, especially Jewish influences, which led to the downfall of their civilizations. The Thule Society, like other Völkisch movements, sought to reclaim this lost Aryan heritage by purging non-Aryan influences and restoring Germany to its former purity. This ideology was rooted in pseudo-historical ideas, mixing Nordic mythology with distorted interpretations of Indo-European history. They believed that by reviving the spiritual wisdom of the Aryans, they could regenerate German society and lead a cultural rebirth. Anti-Semitism was central to the Thule Society's beliefs. They viewed the Jews as the principal adversaries of the Aryan race, responsible for Germany's defeat in World War I, the economic hardships of the post-war years, and the perceived moral decay of society. The society promoted conspiracy theories about Jewish control of world finance, media, and politics, blaming Jews for the spread of Marxism, Bolshevism, and other left-wing movements. They embraced the notorious anti-Semitic text, the Protocols of the Elders of Zion, a fabricated document that claimed to reveal a Jewish plot for world domination. This anti-Semitic paranoia dovetailed with the Society's broader concerns about the degeneration of German culture and the need for racial and national renewal. One of the more unique aspects of the Thule Society was its fascination with the occult. Members believed in the existence of esoteric knowledge that could be accessed through rituals, ancient symbols, and spiritual practices. They were particularly interested in Germanic paganism, runic magic, and the hidden wisdom of the Aryans, whom they believed were spiritually superior to other races. The society conducted secret ceremonies and meetings, often in line with mystical traditions. These practices drew from a wide range of influences. Although the Thule Society was primarily a mystical and intellectual movement, it quickly became politically involved due to the instability in post-war Munich. In 1919, Munich was a hotbed of revolutionary activity, and the Bavarian Soviet Republic, a short-lived socialist state, was established following the collapse of the monarchy. The Thule Society, with its virulent anti-communism and nationalist fervor, became involved in efforts to overthrow the socialist government. Members of the Thule Society, along with other right-wing and nationalist groups, supported the Freikorps, a paramilitary group composed of former soldiers who fought against communist forces in the chaotic post-war period. When the Bavarian Soviet Republic was overthrown, the Thule Society claimed a role in the victory, with some members participating directly in violent street battles. This involvement in counter-revolutionary activities brought the Thule Society into contact with other far-right elements, laying the groundwork for future alliances. The Thule Society's most significant historical role was in helping to foster the environment that gave birth to the Nazi Party. The society functioned as a meeting place for far-right nationalists, including many individuals who would become early members of the Nazi movement. The society itself did not create the Nazi Party, but it served as a bridge between different far-right, nationalist, and Völkisch factions in Bavaria. One of the most influential figures within the Thule Society was Dietrich Eckart, a poet, playwright, and mystic who is often credited with introducing Adolf Hitler to nationalist politics. Other important Thule members who influenced the Nazi Party include Rudolf Hess. Later Deputy Führer of Nazi Germany, Hess was deeply interested in occult and esoteric theories and had early connections to the Thule Society. Alfred Rosenberg, one of the principal ideologues of the Nazi Party, Rosenberg was influenced by Thulean ideas about race, myth, and anti-Semitism. Karl Harrer, a journalist and early member of the German Workers' Party, which would become the Nazi Party, Harrer was a member of the Thule Society and helped facilitate its early political activities. The Thule Society also provided material support to the fledgling Nazi movement. The Society's wealthy members helped fund Nazi propaganda efforts and facilitated the party's access to powerful right-wing networks. Thule members also helped organize the paramilitary wing of the party, which would later evolve into the Sturmabteilung, SA, the Nazi Party's early militia. By the early 1920s, the Thule Society began to decline in influence. Many of its members, including Dietrich Eckart, died or distanced themselves from active political life. As Adolf Hitler rose to prominence, the mystical and occult elements of the Thule Society became less central to the Nazi movement, which began focusing more on political and military goals rather than esoteric theories. Hitler himself is said to have had little interest in occultism and preferred pragmatic strategies for achieving power. However, the racial and anti-Semitic ideologies promoted by the Thule Society became deeply ingrained in Nazi ideology. The Nazi obsession with racial purity, Lebensraum, living space, and the Aryan master race all echoed Thulean ideas. Even as the Thule Society as an organization faded away, Its ideas lived on within the broader Völkisch movement and the Nazi Party. In the years following World War II, the Thule Society gained a somewhat exaggerated reputation in popular culture and conspiracy theories, often depicted as a shadowy, occult organization that secretly controlled the Nazi Party. While the Society did play an important role in the early development of the Nazi movement, its actual influence was more limited than later sensational accounts suggest. Nonetheless, the Thule Society remains an intriguing example of how esotericism, mysticism, and racial ideologies can intersect with radical politics to devastating effect.